Will Valhalla open at Blackpool Pleasure Beach in 2022, or will it be 2023? Over to you, Becca.
I think, from what we've seen, it might end up being 2023.
What makes you think that?
I mean, you've seen things move at the park. They are doing things, but I feel like if we were getting to the point where they were ready to start testing it and getting ready for people, that we might have seen a little bit more. I think fences might have been down, I think a date might have been announced.
Yeah. I
just feel like we've not got enough information, and I don't feel like it'll just be one day it's closed, next day it's open. I feel like there'll be more to it than that.
Absolutely.
I just don't feel like we're getting that feel from the park that it'll just be, look, it's finished. Because it doesn't look finished, doesn't feel finished, and the general feeling that you kind of get from them not putting anything into it is that it's not done.
Yeah.
So they've not got long until, you know, wet ride weather's going to be done. So,
yeah.
You know, that'll quickly slip away. So I think next year.
So the reason we're asking this, and I'm going to get the phone out here, and there was a tweet sent to Amanda saying, question, have you got an update on Valhalla? Just wondering. And the response from Amanda was, I wish, it's driving me loopy all this waiting. It seems to be issue after issue, but we are filling it soonish. So please, 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 let's hope all will be well. Followed up with, or I will be seriously fed up, and the tweet goes on. The tweet is still active at the minute, and then there's nothing else sort of mentioned about it. So that's what got us questioning it, because I went to the Blackpool season launch, and there was a bit of a campaign on Valhalla. There was a Q&A session, there was a promo for it, there was talk about the new soundtrack, and which will be great, I'm sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about the project and Valhalla itself and what we can expect?
Yes, so Valhalla is a absolutely epic water ride. It's huge, it's a guest board boat, and it's a 6-minute waterborne adventure through dramatic drops and turns and spectacular effects. Originally, it was Project 2000, it was the park's Millennium Project. And it really was an absolutely huge investment, not just for...
And I think at the time, back in 2000, it was sort of the UK's largest privately funded Millennium Project at the time. That's how it was built, I remember, all those years ago.
And here we are now with Valhalla in 2022. And it's a multifaceted project, because we're not just looking at effects and the creative, which we definitely are doing, but we're also looking at things like operational efficiencies in the ride and making sure it's got longevity for all the guests that come to Blackpool Pleasure Beach.
So keeping with that theme, what are some of the main changes that people may expect?
Oh, well, this is where I need to be careful what I say. There are changes in terms of we have new scenes, we have refurbished scenes, we have new effects, we have some existing effects which we've refurbished. And also, actually, we've got, and it really is exciting, we've got a brand new soundtrack which The Notable Stranger is currently working on, and it really is fantastically epic. And I don't think there's a day that goes by where I don't talk with Glenn, discuss the music, and that is really exciting. But also beyond that, beyond the things people will see and hear, there's also a lot in the infrastructure. So we've got a state-of-the-art show control system. We're installing new walkways, which might sound not particularly exciting, but it enables us to maintain the ride and ensure we constantly deliver a really theatrical experience for the guests.
So with all these changes, will there still be fire?
Now, we always knew the guests. Our guests loved the fire effects on Valhalla, and I can absolutely confirm the fire effects are staying. They aren't going anywhere.
Fantastic.
And also, sorry, actually, on the fire, I don't think there is a ride in the world where...
That's right, there isn't a dart ride in the world that has the same, you know, epic scale fire effects that you will see in Valhalla. It's amazing.
When will it open?
Oh, I knew that question was coming. As sure as I felt. So obviously we had the thing we don't like to mention, COVID, and that did affect us, especially in terms of sort of supply chains. We have components coming from America, Australia, from Europe, and getting all those things coordinated during COVID did prove an impossible task. So we've got those things in hand now, and also the ride, I must point out, is hopefully to a guest it comes across like a very, will come across like a very synchronised theatrical experience, but behind all of that there is a lot that goes on to make that happen, and a lot we've got to work with. But that said, we are on track for a summer opening.
And I think it's fair to say, as soon as we know a date, we will announce it and let you know.
Fantastic.
I understand why they don't want to sort of rush ahead with any marketing for it online if they're not sure on a date, but also you look at other things and you think that Drayton Manor didn't know a date for when their Vikings area would open, but they didn't stop advertising. They were still giving it the "it's coming soon."
Yeah.
Whereas the coming soon stuff with Valhalla is just stopped. And we're seeing adverts for the pantomime in December. So does that mean Valhalla's going to come after the pantomime? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I genuinely don't know. I mean, there's just nothing to suggest that Valhalla's going to open this year at the minute, other than the scaffolding's come down, to be fair.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there's probably loads going on inside, but from outside it's hard to tell where they're up to.
Yeah. I mean, for me, one of the big questions is, will it get its, I don't know if it's still ADIPS, but its kind of certificate to run. They've got to finish all this work before they can have it certified for people to go on it.
Yeah.
So how long could that take?
Yeah.
They won't be able to do it before the work's done, because it needs to be what the completed ride is. So obviously you probably have to book. I can't imagine that's the quickest thing. You just ring up and they come round, the next day. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I feel like there's more that needs to happen before it can run.
Yeah.
So you'll have to do so many hours testing, this, that. You don't know what's going to come up during testing.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, there's so little to know about it, but there was talk of a new turnaround.
Yeah.
Which something's gone on in there.
Yeah, obviously that's where all the scaffolding's been. There's that steel frame up there now.
So
Could be enclosed now.
So something's happened in that area, but again, there's no official information out there. There's talk that the scenes have changed. I've heard rumours that the scenes haven't changed that much.
Yeah.
I've also heard that there's been a lot of money spent on the ride system rather than the ride effects and theming, more so the ride itself.
Yep, but we need that because the reliability's got to be improved this time, because
absolutely.
It did have a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
Also, we've seen the station as well.
Yeah.
That's hard work. Anyone that's been on the flying machines has seen that.
Yeah, and Ice Blast as well. Not that you get a great look off Ice Blast because it's a quick ride, but you still get to have a nosy in if you sat on the right side. So there's clearly been a lot of work done on it, but I think when you look at it logically, I wouldn't criticise Pleasure Beach if they waited until 2023, because if you look back on the timeline, it was closed at the end of 2019 season. The work was due to be a 2020 thing.
Yeah.
We were locked down for 3 months.
Forever it felt like.
It was at the very least it was March to the end of June, if I remember rightly. So you think that So you think that's the first lockdown. That's quite a lot of time for work that couldn't be done.
Yep.
And in that time there was no shipping in and out of the country.
Yeah, even now getting hold of anything is impossible.
Yeah.
Try to get hold of IT stuff.
Yeah.
At work for me is horrible, just because nothing's coming in.
Yeah.
So getting hold of the kind of parts that they're going to need isn't going to be as simple as people would have thought.
Because you've got all the supply chain issues, so you've got that alone. Then you had you can't go into work because you've got to work from home. Now we've had 2 long instances of that. We had in the start of 2020 and the start of 2021. So you've got all that to deal with, which probably took 6 months of working time off them. On top of that, you've got Big One retracts, Grand National retract, Big Dipper retract, all the other work that they've been doing around the park. Because let's be honest, the work they've done in the last 2 years over the closed season has been amazing on the stuff that they've done. And
they've had people being pinged for test and trace.
Yeah.
Pleasure Beach have been testing staff and everything. They've been looking after people, so there will have been people having to isolate. I'm sure that will have happened. I'm sure it will have spread around there at some point, as it has everywhere. So that will have taken a lot of work time away from it.
Yeah, so it actually delayed the big one as well, with the big one's retracking, because I believe there was quite a few people involved with the project that got COVID at different points, which obviously delays things. So it can happen to anyone, and at the end of the day, you've got to go with the rules, haven't
Yeah.
you? So if you can't go into the work, if you're going to infect everyone, so people will have had to follow those rules. You've got the supply chain issues, and Pleasure Beach is an active amusement park with Valhalla is in a place where you've got vehicles coming in and out past it all the time, and I just can't imagine it's been a very good project to work on for the park. I can imagine it's been a bit of a nightmare situation given that the time scale that they've had to deal with and how much of the COVID thing they've had to be up against, and
I mean,
the
they're
supply
clearly
chain.
frustrated.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is kind of good that the park is showing that, because, you know, they obviously want to open so everyone can go on it, and they obviously care. I think it's quite good that they're showing that.
Yeah,
In
definitely.
a way. I know a lot of people say, oh, it's not very professional, but I think that actually they're showing how invested they are in the park, how invested they are in the project and everything, and that it's actually quite good to see that side of things, and they do really want it done. They're not just leaving it behind because it's taken too long or anything. They are actually interested.
So with that in mind, would you be happy for it to open half done and then the next winter they finish it, or would you rather it was delayed to 20... I'm going to extend this question to anyone that's watching actually. Would you rather it open, say, start of July but the effects aren't finished but the ride is open, or would you rather they finish it like 100% ready, reopens next year?
I'd rather they finished it and it was 100%.
Yeah.
I think for the amount of time that it's been closed now, you might as well just finish it off.
Yeah.
And I just think that it, you know, they've also got this grand plan for it. They, you know, they're very invested into this project, and I think it'd be a shame to have to let people go on it half done.
Yeah.
And kind of, you know, a lot of people only go once a year. If they get one bad ride because it's half finished, it's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
You know, that impacts what their day was. People love Valhalla.
Yeah.
And if they get a subpar experience on it, it's not going to help. It's not going to bring them back. It's not going to get them talking about it.
That's the thing, if you've got somebody that goes that's perhaps not been to Pleasure Beach for say 5 years and had no idea Valhalla had closed in the first place, they might just go, see Valhalla open, go on it and go, well, this isn't like it used to be.
Yeah. Or even if it's your first visit and you go, oh, well, that's a bit terrible, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, you're going to go on it not knowing that anything was happening. You're not going to go on it going, this is a work in progress. This is a, you know, as enthusiasts, we'll go on it and we will think, this is a work in progress. I wonder what they're going to do. And it would be fascinating for us to see the midpoint. But for the first time visitors, people that don't visit very often, I think it'd just be disastrous for that.
I'll give an example actually of something similar. When we last went to Tato Park, Viking Voyage, the new water ride there, wasn't finished. The ride was finished but the theming wasn't. And I can't remember the group size, but we all took the mick over the bin bag tunnels, which were trying to make the lift hills enclosed and everything. It's now finished and it's now themed.
Yeah.
But because I've not been since, I just remember it having its bin bag tunnels on the lift hills.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that I'd be worried about with people going on Valhalla at this point if it wasn't done. And if Pleasure Beach just sort of thought we need to open it, which I could understand from their point of view. But at the same time, I think from a PR point of view, it's surely better to wait until it's finished. I know that all the enthusiasts will be upset. Like, we'd be upset if it wasn't open this year.
We're not the important ones here.
It's the people that will go once, and let's be honest, there's not many people go on Pleasure Beach at the minute. So those that do go, you want them to have the best time.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So you don't want them to go and not enjoy it and come away thinking, well, that Valhalla wasn't what it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, and because what I've seen, there's going to be a new Valhalla shop.
Yes.
What's the point in that if you're not going to excite people into buying stuff?
Yeah.
If they come off of that underwhelmed, they're not going to spend in the shop.
No.
So they really need to make the best impression they can with it.
Yeah.
It's not like there's nothing else to do in the Pleasure Beach.
Yeah. There's plenty to do.
There's so much more to do. It's not like we're talking about, you know, a big gap in the ride lineup. It is something that I think they should just get it done and get it right, and then do it when it's ready and when it's right.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. I can understand it from both sides why Pleasure Beach would want it open early and why enthusiasts who've missed it would want it open. But I think for the bigger picture, when we're seeing the visitor numbers at quite a lot of the parks lesser than it has been.
Yeah.
Probably because the travel restrictions, that's for another conversation, but probably because you can travel anywhere and the cost of living is going crazy. you've got to make sure those that do come and pay the money have the best time possible.
Yeah.
And I think that Valhalla being at its absolute best will be part of that.
I also think if they hold off, they can have a big celebration, make a big noise about it, have like a week's Viking event at the park or something, you know, proper get everyone in, get everyone shouting about it and make a really big deal about it and make sure everyone knows. You can't do that if you're going to open it half ready.
No.
But if they just wait, they can make a huge deal about it.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. So we've come to the conclusion that we don't think it'll be open this year, and we don't think it should be if it's not ready to. But whilst we're on the subject of it, what would you like to see different with Valhalla in terms of theming? Because we know the wetness is going to be there.
Yes.
We know we're still going to get on it and it's going to probably be wet in the boats. But in terms of theming, is there anything you would change?
I'd like to see that first lift hill modified in some way, because it was fairly underwhelming from the original. When it first opened, it just seemed to decay over time. It just didn't feel right. And it's the first thing you see when you go in.
Yeah.
You go around that corner, you're going up, and you're like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So I think that's quite important to get that right. But also, regardless of what they've done with the turntable, that was also just a bit bland, bare, confusing.
Yeah, why is this happening?
Yeah, so I think something more needs to happen with that, whether it just goes straight round, whether it's still got backward, whatever happens in that space, the theming needs to be better there.
Hopefully, you know, we've obviously not got any footage of it because we're not at Pleasure Beach, but they've obviously got that new cage in place, which is where the turnaround has always been inside, or turntable. What I'd like to see there is them actually block that off from the outside and have some sort of screen there where it gives you some sort of crisis message of Valhalla of, oh, we're going the wrong way or something, and that's why we're going backwards. You know, just some reason. Yeah, just some explanation to you've come the wrong way or something. Just something. I'm not that kind of creative person, but just something along those lines would be good.
There's plenty of things in that kind of mythology that could come up and stop you, and you know, all sorts of mythical creatures could stop you in your path and send you back, or anything like that could happen. There's loads that they could do. Yeah. But as long as that water vortex isn't pouring directly on your head, I've got to say I'll be happier.
I think for me that's the most important thing. If they go on it and the water vortex doesn't sort of, you know, I don't know the right word for it because drowning's not the right word, but basically have water just like a bucket. Being bucketed, isn't it? It's like someone standing over you with 10 buckets of water in one go. And for someone that's had lung surgery, that was never very pleasant. No. And that's why I think in the last 5 years Valhalla was open. I think I did it twice because I just couldn't hack that sudden change in temperature. So I'm all for the water vortex being there as long as it's not just going to pour into the boat, because I don't think that's what it was designed for. No,
it's certainly not what any of the advertising showed.
No.
So yeah, I'd love, because that can't be that difficult to fix, surely. I mean, I don't want to oversimplify how it works, but
I don't know.
That can't be too difficult. It's either water pressure or just the way that is set up. But
I did hear a story once that the ponchos were to blame getting stuck in the filters, but I don't know how true that is. But it wouldn't shock me if people did kind of take the ponchos off halfway around and lose them.
People just don't put them on right.
Yeah.
They have their head through an arm and the rest of it loose. You go down a drop and the air just takes it off.
Yeah.
So maybe, in that case, get some better ponchos.
Ban ponchos. Make everyone go on it as you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no ponchos. Just go beach ready.
Maybe we'll have a changing room in the station now.
Yeah. See, there's something I'd like to see. Lockers at the entrance.
Absolutely, because that is one ride that I'm not taking anything on.
No.
No chance.
No.
Certainly not putting it in the bottom of the boat.
No, and it's going to be one of those where if I've got to scan my phone to go on it, I'm probably just not going to go on it.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't.
No, because I'm not risking it.
No. Even with a waterproof phone, I would not be taking it on because you just can't secure it.
No.
We don't all have big I mean, the women out there will get it. We don't get pockets, especially not pockets that fit modern phones. It's a massive problem. We don't get pockets. So where are we going to put anything?
Well, this is it, isn't it? And
I mean, even one thing that would be nice, a change to the boats. You'll have seen it certainly when we were in Florida. A waterproof pouch on the back of each of the seats.
Now, if they've got them, for your phone, I will not argue about having to phone scan on it. That'd be great.
And then there's no excuse for anyone to have phones, cameras, anything actually in their hands.
Yeah.
And then if you get caught, you know...
There's the exit.
Yeah, exactly, because they've given you somewhere to put it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think on some of the woodies that'd be nice as well, but that's another...
Well, RMC's have them.
Yeah,
so... Steel Vengeance has got them. You got like a little... Because, as an example, when you go in a Steel Vengeance queue, you'll be familiar with this from Universal. They've got metal detectors near the front of the queue. So there's like a locker at the entrance, another locker halfway through the queue line if it's still like that, and then you get a metal detector, and as you go through it, a member of staff will put a green tick or red cross on your hand, and when you're in the station, the ride staff will see that, and if you've got the red cross, you'll either be given something to put your stuff in, but at your loss if it goes, or there's a pouch in the train. Yeah. So, for example, a lot of us had our phones on us, so we put it in the pouch. Yeah. But yeah, I just something like that, or the lockers, or just something.
Yeah, well, they definitely need lockers anyway.
Yeah.
I do think that is a big thing.
Definitely.
To encourage people to go on there.
Yeah, so I think that about wraps it up for Valhalla.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments section below. Do you think Valhalla will open in 2022? Would you like to see Valhalla open if it's not entirely ready in terms of theming? The ride wouldn't open if the ride wasn't ready, but the theming might not be ready, so... If the theming's not ready but the ride is, would you like to see it open this year, or would you rather they waited for next year? And what do you want to see different in Valhalla when it does reopen? Many thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next Pleasure Beach Experience video.